Watch the great Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett from Texas annihilate Trump's agenda against China.
What I continue to see is that Trump seems to only care about his money. Democrats on this committee publicly released financial documents detailing how Trump received over $5.5 million from the Chinese government. Not only that, these records also showed how President Trump and his White House senior advisor daughter, Ivanka, received hundreds of trademarks by the PRC during that time.
That's the Congresswoman dropping some facts about how during his presidency, Trump businesses received over $5.5 million from the Chinese government, not to mention his daughter getting trademarks from the Chinese government when she was a White House advisor. There's more.
So I'm going to skip to this timeline because I want to make sure we cover this. ZTE is a China telecommunications company which has had extremely close ties to the Chinese government, including reports showing ZTE employees entering and exiting Chinese spy facilities. Unfortunately, what we saw when we look at this timeline is that in May of 2018, China approved Ivanka's trademarks for bath mats, textiles, and baby blankets. May 7th, 2018, China approved 5 additional trademarks. May 13th, 2018, President Trump's tweets, he's instructed the Commerce Department to reverse its decision to sanction ZTE. June 7, 2018, Ivanka's company gets 3 more provisional Chinese trademark approvals the same day the Trump administration officially announces an agreement to lift the sanctions on a 7-year...
Gentlelady's time's expired.
There's some detailed explanation right there of what is basically quid pro quo, right? So Ivanka was getting the trademarks and then Trump was lifting sanctions against a company. But then this is how Trump represents himself.
The Biden family, and they're making millions from Burisma. Now, think of this.
From China, too? Could you imagine me doing that, or my sons doing that? Or,
no.
Or the great Ivanka Trump doing that?
A years-long investigation by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee claims former President Trump's businesses received at least $7.8 million from foreign governments during his time in office. According to the report, a bulk of those payments came from the Chinese government and state-owned business.
He says, can you imagine me or my sons or the great Ivanka Trump doing that? And then we find out they did do it. But then again, this is how he talks about the leader of China.
Somebody asked me, is President Xi of China? Now, he controls 1.4 billion people ruthlessly. Ruthlessly. No games, right? They said, is President Xi of China a brilliant man? I said, yes, he is. He's a brilliant man. Next day, Trump said President Xi is brilliant. I said, yeah, I did. They want me to say, no, he's not a very smart guy. You know, he just runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. It's crazy.
There you go. He calls Xi Jinping a brilliant man because he is leading with an iron fist. So I guess iron fist means you're brilliant. Well, I think the reason he's saying that is because he wants to be like Xi Jinping. He wants to be like Putin. He wants to be like Kim Jong-un. He wants to be a dictator who leads with an iron fist. And that's what's going to happen in the next presidency if he wins. And he's told us that. He wants to be a dictator from day one. Now, what's very interesting is that the Republicans have been trying to go after the Biden, they call it the Biden crime family, saying that there's ties to the Chinese government, and they haven't been able to prove anything. And yet here we are finding out that when Donald Trump was in the White House, he was actually benefiting from foreign governments, including from China, where he speaks tough, he pretends to be tough on them. But we all know if anybody pays, he'll play. Think about the whole issue with TikTok. Before, he wanted to ban TikTok. And then more recently, one of the owners of TikTok went in and had a meeting with him down at Mar-a-Lago. He turned around and said, well, do we really need to ban TikTok? It's good for the kids. They like it. Let's try and not ban TikTok. So ultimately, the question we have to ask is, who is Donald Trump in it for? Now, he's convinced his constituents, the Trumpers, that he's fighting for them. We see him in those rallies and he goes, they're coming after me because they want to come after you. No, nobody wants to go after his people. If they don't commit a crime, no one's coming after them. When you commit a crime, then they come after you. But I guarantee you that a lot of his people have not committed crimes. I'm not saying that they wouldn't. Maybe they would. We saw it on January 6th that a lot of them did commit crimes. But that's when they come after you. And Donald Trump has continuously committed crimes. Donald Trump has continuously been out for himself. He is a rich East Coast elite, which is the craziest trick that he's pulled on these people to convince them that he cares for them. We all know that if these people that are his constituents wanted to sit down for dinner with him, he would probably just gag and barf because he can't stand these people. He wants to be in bed with people that have money to pay him, like the Chinese government, like we've seen now that they spent over $5.5 million on his businesses during his presidency. That's not supposed to be allowed. That's just not supposed to be allowed. But talk about influencing a country using their money. And that's the problem, is if Donald Trump does win, he's going to be at the acting at the behest of the Chinese government or any other government that's willing to pay and put a Trump Tower in their capital. Clearly, we saw that going into the 2016 elections. He was on his way to getting a Trump Tower put into Russia. And that's part of Russia helping Trump with all the disinformation campaign that we saw in 2016 go on and win that election. So here we are now, and it's just interesting that the Republicans keep pointing at the Biden family, saying that they're criminals, when really the corruption is happening in the Trump family, just out of control corruption. Maybe there's a reason why Ivanka has tried to lay low and not show up at any other Trump activities recently, because she probably wants to distance herself because she knows that she's got some dirt. She's got some dirt. She's probably, having taken advantage of her position in the White House, not to mention Jared Kushner's position when he got out of the White House and he went and made a deal with Saudi Arabia for over $2 billion. You think those people weren't using their positions of power to get those deals? You think Jared just got the deal because he's a smart dude? You think Ivanka got all those trademarks in China because she's a nice young lady? No, they're getting it because it's called influence peddling. China and foreign governments want to have an influence, and it worked. As soon as Ivanka was getting those trademarks, Trump went to the Commerce Department and said, let's lift those sanctions on China. By the way, Trump famously bragged about the tariffs on China and how tough he was on China. The truth is, we paid for the tariffs. It's not like these companies that do business with China are going to turn around and say, oh, we got to pay more money to get the products in from China. Therefore, we'll take the loss and we'll continue to sell washing machines and other products to the general public at the regular price. No, the prices get jacked because of the tariffs. So anyone who thinks that Trump is out for them is really just a major sucker. And if you really think Trump's out for you, please call me up. I got some beachfront property I want to sell you out in the middle of Omaha. I don't think there's any beaches in Omaha, but call me. I'll sell it to you. Listen, guys, the point is, anytime you see the Republicans or Trump saying something about Biden, it's usually them deflecting upon something that they're doing. So their accusations of the Biden crime family and how they were getting rich off of China is a reflection of what the Trump family actually was doing. And it's a reflection of more of what Trump will do. Trump will sell this country and influence in this country to anyone who's the highest bidder. So vote accordingly. I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a special on YouTube. It's called The Birds and the Bees. Watch it. Check it out. If you like it, tell a friend. If you don't like it, keep it to yourselves. Bye.